He's the man who turned cowboy grit into television gold. From the windswept ranches of Yellowstone to the dusty trails of 1883, Taylor Sheridan has built a TV empire that millions of fans can't get enough of. But here's the twist, his plan for 2025 and 2026 is so big, so bold, and so unapologetic that it's already making Hollywood critics furious. This isn't just about another season or another spin-off. Sheridan is about to change how TV power works, and he's doing it on his own terms. Taylor Sheridan's rise in Hollywood isn't a quiet success story. It's more like a stampede. A few years ago, many people didn't even know his name. He was a working actor in shows like Sons of Anarchy, often playing tough, silent types. But behind the scenes, he was studying the craft of storytelling, watching how scripts worked, and thinking about the kind of stories nobody was telling anymore. That's when Yellowstone came along, and everything changed. When Yellowstone premiered in 2018, it wasn't just another TV drama. It was a sweeping, modern Western that mixed family loyalty, betrayal, and raw frontier justice with a cinematic style rarely seen on television. Critics weren't sure what to make of it at first. Some thought it was too traditional, too much like the old cowboy stories. But audiences had a different reaction. They were hooked. Viewers in small towns and big cities, young fans and older ones, they all connected with the Denton family's fight to protect their land from modern threats. Sheridan didn't stop there. He quickly expanded the Yellowstone universe with 1883, a prequel that told the harsh and emotional journey of the Denton ancestors as they traveled west. The series was praised for its authenticity and its heartbreaking performances. Then came 1923, another prequel starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, which explored the Denton family's struggles during the early 20th century with droughts, economic hardship, and outside forces threatening their ranch. But Sheridan's ambition went beyond just one franchise. He launched Mayor of Kingstown, a gritty drama about power and corruption in a prison town. Then Tulsa King, a fish-out-of-water crime story starring Sylvester Stallone as a New York mobster trying to rebuild his empire in Oklahoma. Each of these shows has its own world, its own style, but all of them carry the Sheridan trademark: morally complex characters, sharp dialogue, and a sense of place so strong it becomes a character itself. In just a few short years, Sheridan went from being the guy who writes cowboy dramas to a TV powerhouse with multiple hits streaming on Paramount+. He has become the creative engine behind the network's biggest successes, giving Paramount+ a clear identity at a time when streaming services are fighting tooth and nail for viewers. His shows have kept people subscribing month after month. And that kind of loyalty is gold in the streaming wars. Sheridan's influence now stretches far beyond the shows themselves. He's become a brand fans trust that anything with his name will deliver gripping drama, strong performances, and that unmistakable mix of beauty and brutality. He's not just telling stories, he's building worlds people want to live in, or at least visit for an hour at a time. And that's why his next moves are so important. Because if his past success is any clue, what he's planning for 2025 and 2026 won't just be more of the same. It will be bigger, riskier, and even more divisive. The question now isn't whether Sheridan can keep his winning streak going. It's whether he can pull off the kind of television takeover that could reshape the industry. And judging by what's coming next, he's ready to try, even if it means making more enemies in Hollywood along the way. Taylor Sheridan has never been the kind of creator who plays it safe. For most TV writers, one hit show would be enough. Two might feel like a miracle, but for Sheridan, 5 or 6 just seems like a warm-up. The next 2 years could be the most ambitious period of his career. A carefully planned takeover of the TV landscape. And if you think that sounds dramatic, you're right. Sheridan isn't just adding new shows, he's building what fans are starting to call the Sheridanverse an interconnected empire of dramas that dominate every corner of the small screen. Asterisk the first part of his plan. Keep expanding the Yellowstone world. The main series is heading toward its conclusion, but Sheridan isn't letting that door close without opening 3 more. One new spin-off is expected to follow the Dutton family in a modern setting, possibly with an entirely new generation at the helm. Another will take viewers back in time again, maybe further than 1883, to explore the early days of the American frontier in a way no TV drama has dared before. And there's talk of an international spin, bringing the ranching drama too. A completely different country, with new landscapes, new characters, and new threats. Asterisk, but Sheridan's blueprint doesn't stop at cowboys and cattle. He's working on a high-stakes political thriller, one that insiders say will feel like House of Cards meets Sicario. This isn't a coincidence. Sheridan co-wrote Sicario, and his skill at balancing tension, action, and political intrigue could make this new series one of his boldest yet. It's rumored to involve espionage, corrupt power brokers, and a storyline that hits uncomfortably close to current events. Asterisk, then there's his push into military drama. Sheridan has already proven he can tell authentic, boots-on-the-ground stories with 1883 and Mayor of Kingstown. But now he's going even deeper into the world of elite special forces. The planned series, which some sources say will be based on real operations, could mix heart-pounding action with the kind of moral gray areas he's famous for exploring. It's a risky move. Military shows have a history of either finding a fiercely loyal audience or fading fast, but Sheridan thrives on high stakes. And if anyone can make a military drama both gripping and grounded, it's him. Asterisk, there's also a wild card in his plan, a dark comedy drama, completely different from anything he's done before. No horses, no gunfights, no dusty roads. Just sharp humor, flawed characters, and a look at modern life's absurdities. On paper, it sounds like a strange detour. But Sheridan knows that expanding into new genres keeps audiences curious and critics guessing. Asterisk, all of this is made possible by his ironclad deal with Paramount, which gives him not just creative control, but the resources to produce multiple series at once. It's a level of trust that most creators never get, and Sheridan has every intention of using it to flood the market with his work. The result could be a year where it feels like no matter when you turn on the TV, there's a Sheridan series waiting for you, whether you want Western drama, political games, or military tension. Asterisk, but flooding the market is exactly what has some Hollywood voices nervous. Too much of one creator's style, they argue, could cause burnout. Sheridan isn't worried. In his mind, as long as the stories are strong, audiences will show up. And given how passionately his fans defend his work, he might be right. His 2025-26 blueprint isn't about playing nice with the industry. It's about claiming as much ground as possible before anyone else can. And that's what makes this next chapter so dangerous and so thrilling. Asterisk off is overrated. And as his 2025-26 expansion gears up, those critics are getting louder. On the surface, the complaints sound familiar. Too much of the same thing, overly macho storytelling, formulaic plots. But if you dig deeper, it's clear this isn't just about television style. Sheridan's rise challenges the unwritten rules of modern Hollywood, and that's why the knives are out. Asterisk, one of the biggest issues. His refusal to bend his creative vision to current cultural trends. Sheridan's shows often center on traditional themes: land, family, legacy, personal honor, told through characters who aren't afraid to speak bluntly or make morally questionable decisions. For critics who want television to reflect a very specific kind of social messaging, Sheridan's work can feel like a throwback to another era. That's not to say his shows are shallow or old-fashioned. In fact, they often explore deep moral dilemmas, but they do it without softening the edges. And that unapologetic style can be polarizing. Asterisk, there's also the matter of sheer volume. Some reviewers worrying that Sheridan's sprawling lineup is stretching his storytelling too thin. When one creator has this much control over a network's output, it invites comparisons to other mega producers who eventually faced backlash. Ryan Murphy, Shonda Rhimes, even J.J. Abrams all had a period where their shows dominated TV until audiences began to feel fatigued. Critics see Sheridan heading toward that same tipping point. Asterisk then there's the tone of his worlds. Sheridan loves moral ambiguity, but his characters often live in grim, unforgiving realities where justice is rarely clean and happy endings are rare. Some critics accuse him of leaning too heavily into darkness, of creating shows where brutality and betrayal are constants and tenderness is fleeting. Fans, of course, argue that this is exactly what makes his work powerful. It feels real, not sanitized. But for reviewers who prefer TV as escapism, Sheridan's unflinching style can be a hard sell. And let's not forget the industry politics. Sheridan's deal with Paramount Plus makes him one of the most powerful creative forces in streaming. That means every dollar poured into his projects is a dollar not spent on someone else's vision. In an era where Hollywood talks constantly about diversifying storytelling voices, having such a massive slice of a major network's budget locked up with one man has raised eyebrows. Some critics see it as a risky gamble, betting the house on a single brand. Asterisk the irony is that Sheridan probably wouldn't care if he read every word of these criticisms. In interviews, he's made it clear that he writes for his audience, not for the critics. He has openly said he doesn't chase awards or glowing reviews. He chases stories that keep people watching, and in the numbers game of streaming, where subscriptions and watch hours matter more than golden statues, that philosophy might be the one that wins. Asterisk still, the louder the Sheridanverse grows, the louder its detractors become. And as his 2025-26 plan unfolds, the battle between fans and critics is only going to intensify. For every record-breaking premiere he delivers, you can expect think pieces questioning whether his dominance is good for TV as a whole. But Sheridan isn't running for critic approval. He's riding full speed toward the biggest year of his career, and he's not looking back. Asterisk Taylor Sheridan's next 2 years won't just be about making television. They'll be about surviving an all-out war for attention. In today's entertainment world, there are more shows than ever, but fewer chances to grab an audience's loyalty. Netflix is cranking out high-budget dramas every month. Amazon has billion-dollar projects like The Lord of the Rings of Power. Apple TV Plus has its polished, award-winning lineup. Against that backdrop, Sheridan's strategy isn't to match them title for title. It's to overwhelm them with his own style, brand, and storytelling dominance. Asterisk Paramount Plus is betting everything on him. Sheridan's deal isn't just generous, it's historic. The network has given him the keys to their prime programming slate, banking on the idea that his shows can keep subscribers glued to their platform. In return, Sheridan gets the freedom to tell the stories he wants, without the endless committee rewrites that often slow Hollywood to a crawl. That's rare power in this business. But power also attracts challengers. Every hit he delivers is another reason for rival streamers to try and lure his audience away or copy his style outright. Asterisk the battlefield won't just be in boardrooms and ratings charts. It will be in the cultural conversation. Sheridan's upcoming slate includes westerns, thrillers, military dramas, and even a dark comedy. That diversity of genre is part of his strategy. No matter what kind of mood you're in, there will be a Sheridan show that fits. But it also means stepping into more competitive territory. A gritty military drama will have to hold its own against Jack Ryan and SEAL Team. A political thriller will have to compete with House of Cards veterans and HBO's Prestige Machine. Sheridan is confident his authenticity and character first. Writing will make the difference, but the competition will be relentless. Asterisk then there's the audience factor. Sheridan has one of the most loyal fan bases in television right now, but loyalty can be fragile. Viewers expect each new project to deliver the same emotional punch as his biggest hits. If one or two projects land flat, critics will pounce, and the narrative could shift from TV king to overextended empire. Sheridan knows this, and that's why he's doubling down on quality control, keeping his circle of collaborators tight and making sure every project passes his personal test. Would I watch this myself? The next chapter will also test whether Sheridan can maintain his identity in a rapidly changing industry. Streaming platforms are experimenting with AI-generated scripts, cost-cutting production methods, and algorithm-driven content choices. Sheridan's brand is built on the opposite: real writing, real locations, real grit. That makes him both a rebel and a risk in a market obsessed with efficiency. But if his gamble pays off, he could prove that old-school storytelling still wins in the digital age. By the end of 2026, Sheridan could stand as the undisputed ruler of scripted television, or as a cautionary tale about moving too fast and flying too high. The stakes are enormous. The critics are ready. The competition is fierce, and Taylor Sheridan, he's saddling up for the fight, one script at a time. Because in the Sheridanverse, there's no such thing as playing it safe. There's only winning big or losing everything. The next 2 years will decide whether Taylor Sheridan's name becomes a permanent fixture in television history or just a bold chapter that burned bright and faded fast. Everything he's built, the sweeping landscapes of Yellowstone, the raw grit of Mayor of Kingstown, the restless energy of Tulsa King, has been leading to this moment. But success in Hollywood is a moving target. Today's king can be tomorrow's has been, and the higher Sheridan climbs, the more people are waiting for him to fall. For his fans, the future looks exciting. More stories, more characters, more of that unmistakable blend of danger, loyalty, and moral gray areas that has become his signature. They see him not just as a creator, but as a storyteller who still writes with his own voice, even when the industry demands something different. In an era where so much content feels manufactured, Sheridan's work still feels personal. And that personal touch may be the secret weapon that carries him through the next wave of competition. For his critics, the next 2 years could be a proving ground. The moment they finally see the cracks in the armor, they'll be watching for signs of fatigue in his storytelling, for ratings dips, for projects that fail to land. To them, his massive output is a gamble against time and quality. And if even one major project disappoints, they'll be ready to declare the Sheridanverse a victim of its own ambition. But Sheridan has never been one to shy away from a fight. He writes worlds where survival depends on grit, where loyalty is tested, and where victory comes to those who refuse to back down. That's not just the theme of his shows, it's the way he approaches his career. He knows there's no middle ground in the streaming wars. You either dominate the conversation, or you vanish from it. So as 2025 and 2026 unfold, we'll see the Sheridan machine running at full speed, a creative storm fueled by confidence, controversy, and an unshakable belief in the power of a good story. And when the dust settles, only one question will matter. Will Taylor Sheridan's empire redefine television for the next decade? Or will the critics finally get the ending they've been waiting for? Because one thing is certain, the Sheridanverse is coming, and it won't take prisoners.